plaintiff, Laura DeJose, was friends with the defendant, and she claims while the defendant was married, she cheated and left her husband for the other man. Laura claims the defendant ended up pregnant, homeless, and living in the woods, so Laura took her in. But she's suing her today for crashing her car while high on Xanax. Defendant Megan Martin insists she wasn't married when she hooked up with the guy in question, but does admit that they hitchhiked to Texas to live in the woods. Megan doesn't remember taking Laura's car because she was high on Xanax, but insists Laura knew that and gave her the car regardless. So Laura should be held partially responsible.
Start with you.
Yes, Your Honor. I'm suing my ex-friend here, Megan Martin. I come to know Megan through her ex. We were friends with him first, and then he introduced us to Megan. And through them, we became really good friends. We started inviting them over because we knew they didn't have much money. We started inviting them over for dinner and TVs and, watching movies with us. And then through that, getting their confidence and being friends with them, she later told us that they were living in Florida at one time in a condo with their husbands and wives and had an affair together.
With whom?
Her husband and her ex and his wife lived together in a condo together.
All right.
In Florida. Well, then her and her ex started having an affair together,
Gotcha, right, when they were in the same condo.
Right, in the condo, they started having an affair together.
She told you this, you're saying?
Yes, she did. She told me this. And then they run off. They run off together, left their husband's wife run off together. She got pregnant. And then through that, they lost their jobs, became homeless, were living in the streets. She told me that she was 6 months pregnant, living in the woods at one time in Florida. Can you believe? In Texas, that was in Texas. She told me she was living in Texas, in the woods. So she said she got scared, so they came back to Alabama where her family was because she was very pregnant. And it was shortly, after we got to be friends with them, that her ex got arrested.
Let's start with this other part. Let me allow her to address
Thank you.
this. Running and living in the woods.
First of all, neither one of us were married, and I guess where she gets this idea is that...
Well, that's what you told me.
Did you and your mate live with your ex-mate and his mate?
No, sir. I come down with a friend to Florida where they were at, and
a male friend?
A male friend, yes, but nothing. And he was there with another girl, but they had just met in Florida. They were down there on vacation. It was just like, you meet somebody on the beach, whatever not. And yes, we did hook up and leave together, but those were not our husbands or wives or,
But it was 4 people.
Yes, sir.
Living in a condo.
Not a condo. A trailer in the backwoods. Yes.
And while 4 of you were living in a trailer, the guy you ran off with had a girlfriend. Different
Acquaintance.
From you. Acquaintance.
Yes, sir.
And they were intimately linked.
No, sir. To be honest with you, my ex is a con man, and he was down there running from the police, and he was needing a place to stay, and he conned a bigger lady into letting him stay in her home, and that's kind of more the situation. He was using her to have a place to stay till he could get on.
And so were you.
Exactly.
You lived there too.
Yes, sir.
All right. Did you all have to end up in the woods?
Well,
Con ran out, huh?
Yeah.
I know a lot of con players, none of them had to live in the woods. They live pretty good lives.
I was horrible at it, apparently.
Okay. So you ended up in the woods.
Yes.
What were you sleeping under? You had blankets, or did you have to?
Well, I first
tree
ended
limbs? What?
Actually, I first ended up in Florida, and we were actually using bubble wrap as pillows. And
Why'd you do that?
why? Because I was stupid.
How about him?
Even stupider.
Well, how did that turn out?
I wound up pregnant, and we hitchhiked to Texas to live in the woods.
The woods are better in
Actually,
Texas?
there is hardly no woods in Florida, but Texas had a little bit better.
Better woods. You had heard that in Texas the woods are better. You better go ahead and hitchhike down here to the woods in Texas.
That's what it sounds like, but actually we moved there because he had family there, and when I found out
in
I was
the
pregnant,
woods. His family was in the woods. Yeah. Lord have mercy. Good enough, man. Let me get back to you. You seem like you're on target.
Yes, sir.
You know what you're talking about.
Yes,
Go ahead.
sir. And then her ex went to jail She couldn't pay the rent where she was at. And we still thought they were kind, credible people. So we took her into our home. We provided her everything. We bought her a baby crib. We bought her baby clothes, diapers. I mean, we provided everything for her. Didn't ask her for no money, for anything. And then when her baby was time to be born, I took her to the hospital. She said, I'm gonna go stay with my ex's mother, you know, for a few days after the baby's born. We said, great, you know, your place is still here. You still have a place to come back to.
Go ahead.
She came one night and asked us, could she borrow the vehicle to go see her daughter who lives with her dad or stepmom? And we said, you know what, just be careful with it because we have it sold the next day. And she said, oh, I'm fine, I'm great, you know, I'll have it back, you know, no problems, no worries. 1 hour later, here comes her ex-mother, shows up.
1 hour later?
It was like an hour later, Your Honor. Shows up at the door saying that she had went through the windshield, was in critical condition, didn't know what kind of shape she was in. So of course, I'm worried about her. We love Megan. We was concerned about her. Come to find, I finally got the state trooper who told me she never went through the windshield. And as soon as she wrecked our truck, she called somebody to come and get her. Didn't call us to tell us. And how did she repay us? With our kindness and efforts, what she did to repay us, she got high on Xanax and wrecked my vehicle. And not only that,
How
come
did
to
you
find
that out?
Well, that's what was in the accident report, which I have right here.
Let's see it.
It says she admitted to being on Xanax and wrecking our vehicle, which is not the only time she's been on drugs, apparently, because her ex stated that she had had prior drug problems.
Taking the Xanax about 3 hours prior to the crash. Ma'am, what do you have to say about this?
The night that this happened, I don't even remember going to her home. I'd actually had a babysitter for the first time. I was being, which is no excuse. I was being single mother, getting up at night with the kids because my ex at the time, or ex now, was in jail. Got a little bit too wild.
What was he in jail for?
Child support. And I decided to take some pills from a friend and take a few of them, and I was going to go home and go lay down. Well, I don't take downers. I do have a drug history, but it wasn't downers. And when I took them, I don't even remember going to the plaintiff's home. I don't remember asking for a vehicle.
Do you remember the accident?
I remember the sobriety test. I remember being jerked out by the state trooper, and then I don't remember none of that after that. I blacked out for another day. I don't take Benzos.
Okay, she agreed to repay you?
Yes, sir. She signed a promissory note saying she would pay $75 a week every week until the note was paid.
Were you arrested and charged with driving under the influence of drugs?
No, I was very honest.
Even though you admitted to the police that you were high on Xanax when you caused this accident, they said it was all right.
They didn't say it was all right.
Just let you go.
They gave me a slap on the wrist. And
really?
They were very...
You could have killed someone. They didn't tell you that? They just let you go. You have your pictures of
Yes, I have pictures of the truck that she wrecked, Your Honor.
Yeah, I know a lot of people want to get arrested by those police.
Yes.
You tell them you're high off Xanax. They see this and they let you go. No charges.
No charges.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, the gentleman came the next day to buy the vehicle. We told him we're sorry that she had wrecked it and we couldn't sell it.
Your Honor, can I ask you a question? How am I understand where I'm at fault, but how is she at not some fault when she knew I was under the influence?
No, ma'am, I did not know you were under the influence of drugs.
She even stated, I have a witness statement from my ex-mother-in-law who is not necessarily a friend of mine, but she did give me a witness statement.
Now you say she agreed to pay you?
Yes,
That's
she
the
agreed
issue
to
today.
pay.
Did you agree to pay her? She agreed to pay you how much?
Yes, she did. She came to agreed to pay $75 a week
on the total amount of what?
$2,000. That was $1,800.
How much has she paid you thus far?
$75 she paid.
So why? All right.
Because she breached the contract, we're agreed to sue her for the whole $2,000.
Okay.
Because after she paid the $75, she never got contact.
You know
she knew
what
where we
you're
lived.
talking about.
She could have came to us.
All right.
She had a job. She did not offer to pay us a dime.
So what's your defense to this agreement, ma'am?
Well, at the time after the wreck, I was still, the day after.
You still getting high?
No, sir.
What?
I was still under the influence the day after I
That's called getting high, ma'am.
Well, I mean, from the incident before, I was
you must have taken a lot of Xanax
Yes,
for
I
you to
took
be
3
high the
Xanax
next
bars.
day. Did she know you took a lot of Xanax?
Well, she stated
Since
to...
that's your defense?
She stated to my ex-mother-in-law on the phone that I was falling asleep, and that I asked her later on, why did you let me drive the vehicle if you knew I was under the influence?
I didn't know you were under the influence.
She said, I didn't want
You
you to be
said
mad.
you were fine and the truck would be
she
back.
didn't want you to
She
what?
didn't want me to be mad.
No, that's not what
So
I said.
she'd
That's
rather
a lie.
have you drive her car under the influence of Xanax than to make you mad?
You don't understand. They're awkward kind of people. Don't get me
They're
wrong.
awkward.
They're very good
How many
people.
woods have they lived in? Why did you sign something saying you would pay?
Because after the accident, she told my mother-in-law at the time that she could not come get my baby's stuff until I come and spoke to them or signed an agreement saying that I'd
You
pay
should
for
have
the
sued
truck.
her then, or gone to the police. You have a police report showing where you went to them and said, she's withholding my property. Don't have that?
No, I don't.
Okay, what you're suggesting is that she extorted or had you sign this contract under duress, and you're unable to prove it, and I don't believe it. Judgment for the plaintiff, $2,000.
Well, I want to say I'm glad that justice prevailed. I mean, we were kind, and she took our kindness as an act of weakness and, took advantage of us, and then didn't want to pay us. So I'm glad that justice prevailed, and now she has to pay us.
I think that she was overly nice, and I couldn't understand her motives, and I'm just...
There was no motive. Nobody's ever been kind to you, apparently, because you were living in the woods, and nobody has ever been kind to you. So you didn't know what kindness was.